Well, Microsoft is back at it again with non-privacy friendly updates. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but within the last, I think this came out last week or so, it just took me a little bit of time to cover it. Microsoft recently released in one of their, I think, insider builds that basically in one of the next coming versions is that Windows is going to have essentially an AI agent available in the operating system that you can enable and have do various tasks for you, such as read through files, take a look at emails and whatnot. But, it doesn't surprise me that something like this came out. There's a lot of agentic AI things happening already, but again, it's just another classic, move from Microsoft, introducing something that doesn't make the OS better, just adds more bloat, it takes up more space, takes up, more memory, more compute power, and all those kinds of things. But essentially, what it is, right? Microsoft is essentially saying that the agent itself is going to be able to read your files in an isolated runtime, basically kind of in a small, I guess, VM. But then the one thing that's confusing is basically that the AI agent will be created essentially kind of like a new user account. So it'll be separate from your personal account on your PC, but be still tied to it somehow, and it'll be still running on the same OS since it is an agent that is on the OS. So this is becoming a big kind of like a privacy scare, right? Because I don't know, I would never allow something like this. Like it just seems like a no brainer because they can say, oh, the agent's doing this, it's doing that, but okay, it's reading all my emails, going through all my files, but you know, along the line, unless it's completely like running locally and maybe like air gapped or something, right? Like if this agent is parsing information, is it sending it back somewhere? Is Microsoft looking at it? Are they going through all my emails? I mean, they probably already are, but this will just kind of deepen things further. But it's just like what's really going on. Like this is just something that's not needed. And there's been a lot of I've seen a lot of talk. People have been very very upset about this. I mean, I don't use Windows, like thankfully. But if you have to, like, I understand there's some people like there's different things like. If you're not able to switch to Linux, I get it. I'm not gonna be like hardcore. But hey, if you want to give Linux a try, I have some videos that can help you out there. But basically, it's just something that's unneeded, and I feel unless you really need that much help and you want AI to summarize everything, you can do that. You can basically go. There's Proton, more privacy centric models. You can host your own. You can basically kind of spin up like a local. You can do it on your own PC too, like a local container, local Docker thing, or there's even Python scripts, and you can kind of load models into there. I mean, yeah, they'll be a little slower, but if you really want something to help you summarize and overview and help you get things done more productive, you could just kind of have stand up your own little AI agent, or you could just use like something else on the web. I mean, I know that's not very private either, but at least this way you don't literally have another user sitting inside basically the OS itself. To me, that just kind of makes it look like just for someone who's more security and privacy focused, that just really opens up the door to attackers to be doing things. One of the first things that comes to mind, in my opinion, is I've seen this in the past with like Copilot, Gemini, a couple other AI models, is basically like prompt injection, right? So let's say you have your email or let's in this case like the files, right? And it's reading through them. And someone, let's say you're visiting some website, you download like let's say you download a newspaper article, right? And someone snuck in like a prompt injection in there and some markup language, or hid it within some HTML or some way that made it like readable by the agent, right? So what could happen from that standpoint is, while your secondary agent is running, trying to summarize things for you, it could read that prompt and be like, oh man, I gotta do this. Now, I don't know if this AI agent will have like execution privileges, but I'm thinking down the line, if someone didn't code something right, there's probably some way to get around it. But essentially, the agent, someone could kind of take control and say, hey, build me a reverse shell connecting to this on this port and listen and this like command and control server, blah blah blah. So for me, it's just kind of like becoming very very scary, right? I'm seeing all the different attack vectors that could happen in this case, and it just kind of it's something that's not needed, and a lot of people like I say a lot, like a lot of people are very unhappy about this. It's pretty public, and it's just a security nightmare. Now, the good thing is Microsoft is not enabling this by default, but, and I say but, that doesn't mean they're going to not auto-enable it in another update or make you enable it in the future, just like kind of forcing people to have Windows accounts. But yeah, all in all, not something I would look forward to, something that's kind of ridiculous and unneeded in my mind. But let me know what you guys think down below. I mean, I'm sure that I'd love to hear other feedback on this. And unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today. So if you guys enjoyed, please sure to like, comment, and or subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.